It was only a matter of time before we got here. I mean, the perfect storm, when you defund the police and when you get rid of any kind of authority, someone's going to step up and take that authority. And when someone comes up and takes that authority and they aren't given that authority, the consequences are going to be dire. Kristallnacht, mi babcia and mi dziduś, my grandfather and my grandfather survived Auschwitz, and they had told me stories of Kristallnacht, where people of the Hitler Youth Organization went through and bashed windows. It's a matter of history. History. This is history. This is history that lived, and just me saying that puts my channel at risk. But this is how it starts. When police turned a blind eye, when people of authority say, well, you can't go to church, you can't go to a gym, but you can protest Black Lives Matter. You can't gather in large groups, but you can protest Black Lives Matter. They are giving the power to these people, and they are taking it. Well, now we have a instance of Black Lives Matter extorting a business. When I first saw this, I was like, no. But yes. And a Cuban-owned business nonetheless. Okay, so you're going to attack minority businesses under the guise of minority rights? What? All right, let's read this. Excuse me. Cuban community from Courier Journal, by the way, and also from WHAS2ABC, Louisville. Cuban community plans rally at Nulu restaurant in response to Black Lives Matter demands. It was only a matter of time. Members of Louisville's Cuban community plan to gather Sunday in support of a Nulu restaurant owner who says he was threatened by Black Lives Matter protesters during a recent demonstration. Fernando Martinez, a partner of the Olé restaurant group, was one of dozens of business owners in the downtown Louisville district who recently received a letter from protesters. From protesters. Quit calling them protesters. They are not protesters. This is not how protesters act. Protesters do not act in violence. Protesters do not act in a manner that extorts businesses. These are rioters. At this point, when you're extorting a business, now you're entering the realm of being called gangsters, like old school gangsters, like Al Capone style, extorting businesses. Is that what we're doing now? Yeah, let's defund the police, why don't we? This letter was laying out demands that aim to improve diversity in the area, which is known for its locally owned shops and restaurants. So you're telling a Cuban business owner who's probably got less of a percentage of population than African Americans, and you're going to say that he needs to diversify? Okay. So much for your virtual signaling. Martinez has publicly denounced the demands on Facebook, calling them mafia tactics used to intimidate business owners. And on Thursday, a small group of protesters confronted him outside his newest restaurant, La Bodeguita de Mima, on East Market Street. There comes a time in life that you have to make a stand, and that you have to really... let me reread that. There comes a time in life that you have to make a stand, and you have to really prove your convictions and what you believe in, Martinez wrote in his Facebook post. All good people need to denounce this. How can you justify injustice with more injustice? English is probably his second language, so I'm sure he was saying, how can you justify injustice with more injustice? According to a press release, members of the city's Cuban community will meet outside the Nulu restaurant at 4 p.m. Sunday to support the immigrant-owned business, which has been subject to vandalism and extortion in recent days. Yes. They went down the street and they handed out demands of these businesses under the threat of follow these demands or we will be back. What does that sound like? Any classic mafia movie you've ever seen? This is where we go. You defund the police and you tell Black Lives Matter that they have the kind of power that it supersedes government orders. Government orders us to wear masks. The government orders us to social distance. However, the government says wear masks and social distance unless you are protesting Black Lives Matter, in which case it is okay, and in which case we're even going to pull the police back so that way you guys can do whatever it is you want. This is becoming a dangerous religion. This is becoming the same thing that the Nazi Youth Party used to do. My grandmother and my grandfather told me many, many, many stories of that, and I've seen the pictures. Old black and white pictures that my grandfather and my grandmother took. I'll tell you what, it's some scary stuff. My grandfather was a strong man. One of the pre-war black and white photos that he had was him holding a lady on his arm, strong, buff. After Auschwitz, not so much. This is where we're headed. This is what the government's telling them that they're able to do. The government's telling them they have this kind of power, and the government's telling you they have this kind of power. You cannot go to church. You cannot go to a gym under threat of arrest or fines. However, if you are going for Black Lives Matter and you're protesting, well, then that's fine. And I have nothing against protesting. That's fine, but there's a way to do it. And Black Lives Matter has overstepped that bound. They are not protesters anymore. They are in the realm of organized crime at this point. The release states that La Bodeguita de Mima was forced to close July 24th. Yes, they closed for 2 days because they were in fear. They closed for 2 days, an immigrant-owned business, because of Black Lives Matter, which is supposed to help those who are marginalized, had to close, and its employees didn't get a check for 2 days because the same organization that is fighting or says that they're fighting for marginalized groups is extorting a marginalized group. Yeah. They were forced to close July 24th during a demonstration that shut down East Market Street, at which several protesters presented Martinez with the list of demands and said, he better put the letter on the door so your business is not effed up. Or effed with. Same thing. Effed up, effed with. Yes. That's where we're at. That's where we're headed. And the government is supporting this by all visualized means. The police pull back when BLM rioters show up. They aren't calling out BLM. I mean, some of them are, but the local governments aren't. The local governments are actually helping Antifa. The restaurant remained closed the next 2 days because management and staff were concerned about safety, according to the release. 30-plus staff members, mostly immigrants, were unable to earn a paycheck. Yes. Congratulations, Black Lives Matter. You are becoming that which you seek, or at least attest to be fighting against. You are the evil people. Yes, BLM, you are the bad guy at this point. On Thursday, a small group of protesters returned to the restaurant after seeing Martinez's post about the demands on Facebook. While there, one protester smashed a flower pot outside the business, while the rest spoke with Martinez and other employees about why the demands are needed. Why do you keep calling them protesters? Call them what they are. Thugs. Violent individuals, a gang, a mafia-style extortionists, whatever. They are not protesters. Quit calling them that. And yes, I can hear it now. People are going to say, but these are not protesters. Oh, really? You're going to use the no true Scotsman fallacy on me, are you? I can hear it now. Oh, but these people aren't protesters. The protesters aren't doing that. No, they are protesters. You can't pull the no Scotsman fallacy, no true Scotsman fallacy. And in case you don't know, no true Scotsman fallacy. Two Scotsmen are walking down the road in opposite direction. They meet up with each other and they start a conversation. In this conversation, one of them says, no Scotsman likes porridge. The other Scotsman says, well, but I like porridge. And then the other Scotsman says, well, no true Scotsman likes porridge. Yeah, okay. Scotsman is a Scotsman is a Scotsman. A BLM protester is a BLM protester is a BLM protester. You can't cherry pick a BLM protester and say he doesn't act the way that I think a BLM protester should act. Therefore, they're not a BLM protester. No, if they're in the protest, they're marching with the protesters, they are a protester. If the other protesters are not stopping the individuals that are doing this, they are part of it. You can't walk into a bank and the person that you're with robs a bank and you're helping them out and then say, well, I didn't rob the bank. No, you helped them out. You didn't stop them. You gave them cover, this and that. No. No. The demands and an attached contract, which were created by local organizers and activists, asked Nulu business owners to, 1, adequately represent the black population of Louisville by having a minimum of 23% black staff. Yes. Religious hiring practices. You will hire based upon this movement's, this religious organization's standards, or else your business will be effed up. Purchase a minimum of 23% inventory from black retailers, or make a recurring monthly donation of 1.5% of net sales to a local black nonprofit or organization. Yes, which I guarantee that they are going to suggest that you donate to their organization. Yes. Give us money or else. Require diversity and inclusion training for all staff members on a biannual basis. Yes, and we all know how this inclusion training goes. It's the same thing with gender studies. Many times people have gone into gender studies saying, yeah, I have never experienced any gender inequality. I don't really see much sexism. And then when they get out of the class, they see sexism everywhere. It's conditioning. It's retraining of the mind. Stop it. Come back down to earth and look realistically. And display a visible sign that increases awareness and shows support for the reparations movement. Yes, reparations. Give us money. Sins of the father. How far back in everybody's past shall we go? How dangerous and slippery a path do you think this could be? To those individuals who want reparations, are you sure that if we go far enough back in your past, that we're not going to find something that your father, your father's father, his father, your great-great-great-grandfather, your great-great-great-great-grandfather did that won't demand reparations? Are you sure that you haven't? Because here's the thing. You do realize where a lot of the white ship owners got their slaves from, correct? From other African slave owners. In Africa, one tribe would defeat another tribe and take them as slaves and then sell them to the white ship slave owners. So how far back should we go in everybody's past? Is it just sins of the father, or is it sins of the father's father? Because if it's sins of the father, then no one owes reparations, because there's nobody alive today that owns slaves in America. Felix Crittenden, an activist who works with Black Lives Matter Louisville, said the demands and related Nulu social justice, health, and wellness ratings were not meant to be a threat, but were instead intended to start a conversation with owners about how their businesses can better reflect and support black people. So there is the answer for the individuals who are going to say that it was not Black Lives Matter that sent these demands. It absolutely is. He is an activist who works with the Black Lives Matter Louisville, and he flat out said, yep, we didn't mean them to be a threat. Give us money or your business will be effed up. Smashing a pot in front of your business when you didn't pay up, but we didn't mean it to be a threat. Put the sign on your door like Kristallnacht. If this sign is on your door, your business will be passed by. But if you don't, your windows will be smashed. Yes, Kristallnacht, only in the reverse. In Kristallnacht, they put the Jewish Star of David on the windows, and the ones with the Star of David on the windows were smashed. This is just the opposite. You put the sign up here saying that you support Black Lives Matter and you're giving us money, and your business will be fine. But if you don't, we will F up your business. Yeah. You need to stand up and not let this happen. Crittenden, who also founded the organization Blacks Organizing Strategic Success, said several Nulu business owners have volunteered to sign the contract created by the protesters. Yes, they volunteered, much like that hotel owner who volunteered to give you guys rooms. Yes, volunteer, plato y pluma, right? Silver or lead. That's what you're saying. Sign this contract and your business will be fine. If you don't sign this contract, we're going to F up your business, but these business owners are doing it out of their own free will, right? Under no duress whatsoever, are they? Under no threat of violence whatsoever, are they, Crittenden? Signed the contract created by the protesters and are open to discussing their roles in the gentrification of the area, which has undergone hundreds of millions of dollars in development in recent years. What is wrong with taking hundreds of millions of dollars in developing your neighborhood? Would you rather it stay a poor neighborhood? Is that what you would rather? Yeah, okay. This is what you get when you get a government that says you cannot do the normal things in your life, but this religious movement over here called Black Lives Matter, if you are a part of that, you can do whatever you want, including extort businesses. Yeah, these business owners are doing it of their own free will, my shiny red behind. At the root of the protesters' demand is the request that business owners acknowledge the harm brought on black residents when they were displaced from Nulu and the adjoining Phoenix Hill neighborhood during the demolition of the Clarksdale housing project in the early 2000s. And I looked that up. The reason that they demolished the Phoenix Hill neighborhood Clarksdale housing project was because it was crime and drug ridden. It was a hot spot. Once they got rid of it, the crime went down. That's why they got rid of it. The 65-year-old complex, which abutted Nulu on Jefferson Street, was torn down in 2004 and replaced with a mixed-income housing that became known as Liberty Green. What's wrong with that? We're supposed to improve neighborhoods. So they tore down a crime-ridden thing and they put up a mixed-income housing. Okay? According to a 2009 Courier Journal article, just 41 of the roughly 635 families who'd been displaced at Clarksdale returned to the new development. Fine. So they moved to other places. Fine. Nulu is flourishing, Crittenden said. To see that literal line in the sand as soon as you cross the street, it's very disturbing. Nulu doesn't reflect the community they sit in and claim to incorporate and serve. Yeah, but you are going to extort businesses to change it to what you believe your worldview should be. And from what I'm seeing, your worldview is not the worldview we want. I don't want a worldview where businesses have to have a symbol on their door or risk being burned, destroyed, attacked, physical harm. This is the letter that they sent. 2. Business owners and stakeholders in Nulu Business District, Nulu Business Association, regarding reparations and representation in Nulu Market District. Dear Nulu business owners, stakeholders in the Nulu Market District and Nulu Business, and Nulu Business Association board leaders. The residents of Louisville, Kentucky are standing strong. The residents or just Black Lives Matter? I don't think it's the residents of Louisville, Kentucky that are backing you. I think it's a single group that just for some odd reason has the backing of local government to carte blanche, do whatever they want. Are standing strong, educated, and together to express the destruction of your business as a cause to low-income communities. This is a Cuban immigrant who... Come on now. What? Okay, yeah. God, you guys stretch this stuff so far. Specifically those with majority black residents. We therefore demand representation and reparations. Yes, give us money. Give us money. In the Nulu Business District of Louisville for the gentrification that has taken place. The policies and process of the revitalization of Nulu has displaced marginalized people from their homes. Their families have often resided for generations, single-handedly progressing the gentrification of black neighborhoods. This process has been happening to black, indigenous, and persons of color at the hands of white heterosexual patriarchy. You can't make it up. You can't make that up. Yes. Even in the Black Lives Movement, the worst of the worst of the worst of the worst is the straight white male. You can't win as a straight white male in today's society, can you? You are the worst of the worst. You are literally the devil. Since the inception of this nation we call home, black folks, black F-O-L-X, folks, can't have their own space. Yes, they can, and they often do. When wealthy white folks see an opportunity to make more money. So go out there and make money yourself. Form your own businesses. Gentrification is a palatable term that sugarcoats one more aspect of an oppressive system targeted at black folks. For 400 years, we are here today to demand representation over tokenism. Yeah, but you're there over money. You just want money. Give me free money. Give me free money. Give me money. Give me money. Give me money. You didn't own slaves. Your dad didn't own slaves. Your dad's dad didn't own slaves. Hell, you might even be an immigrant from Cuba. I never owned a slave. None of your family ever owned slaves. In fact, you may have been slaves. But we want you to pay reparations. Yes. This is stuff we need to speak up against. This is important. Share this. We need to speak up against this stuff. This is not right. This is not America. It's not my America. Assist the collective in achieving equity and inclusion by signing the attached, agreeing to meet the following demands enlisted below. And you're telling me that business owners willingly, without threat of violence, signed this contract. All right, let's read it. For business owners and nonprofits in Nulu, our demands are as follows. 1. Businesses will adequately represent the black population of Louisville by having a minimum of 23% black staff, including management, in front of house positions, and maintain commitment and accountability to increasing that number. To increase it to what? 100%? Overrepresentation? I'm confused. First, you say you want it to reflect the community. If your community is 23% black and you want 23% businesses, business to have 23%. What happens when every business says, okay, 23%, and they improve, and some of them have 100%, and then there are no more blacks to hire, and a business opens up and there's no blacks to hire? Because there's no blacks to hire and every single black is gainfully employed, this business can't open and you're going to smash their windows because there are no blacks to hire, so they can't meet the 20%. What? Okay. There's just so many different things. Yeah. Retail locations will include a minimum of 23% inventory of black retailers, or make a recurring monthly donation of 1.5% of net sales to what? To what? To local black-owned businesses and organizations is what it would be. Business owners will require diversity and equity inclusion training for the staffs to be conducted by any of the blanks on the attached list. Training will be conducted thereafter on a biannual basis. Customize your own or display one of the attached blanks signs. It's a sign that they gave them to put in their window in a visible location within your business to increase awareness and show support for the reparations movement. No, false. Put this window in your sign so that way our gang knows that you have paid money and we will not F up your business. That's what that is. It's not to show support. It's that way they don't F up your business. Nonprofits in the Nulu district will submit to a voluntary external audit of their board of trustees and take necessary steps towards 23% representation on those boards. Wow! You want businesses to open up to an external audit by Black Lives Matter, where they are going to have their own view. They're not going to listen to you. God bless it, man. This is absurd. No, we cannot allow things like this to happen. We can't. We can't. This is strong arm robbery. This is what Al Capone used to do. And all those other big gangsters, the real mafia, the real gangsters from back in the day. Speak up against this. Because let me tell you something, if we don't, there's a certain period in history that my grandmother and my grandfather lived through that we do not want to see happen here. And that's where we're headed. They've already got the support of local governments. They've already got the police backing off. They've got business owners scared enough that they're going to sign a contract I doubt it's legally binding. But who cares if it's legally binding when you're running a business and you can either have it destroyed every night or you can pay this percentage when the cops aren't there and the cops aren't doing anything? What do? And the more businesses that give in, the stronger BLM gets, the more this is going to happen. How long, my friends, until they come for you? If you don't speak up, if you don't stop it, how long? How long before they're at your door saying, give us 1.5% of your income every month? And then it becomes 2%. And then it becomes 5%. And then it becomes 10%. And then it says white people pay 50% of their income and other people pay a lower percentage. And then it's straight white males pay 70% of your income. And yeah. And you don't think it's going to go there? Yeah, in 1935, they didn't think it would go there either. But it did. I love you guys. Stay informed. I'll see you in the next one.